Hi everyone, it is me, Sailor Neptune. You know Michelle here, or Sailor SeaWorld here with it. Fuck, that was a mistake. And today, I want to talk about why Cloverway chose to make us Nearkin. Now, first off, a lot of folks out there tend to scave, you know. Fuck. See, a lot of folks out there, they tend to a lot of folks out there tend to scave, anything now for skimming or, shifting anything. And also includes, anything that had to do with anyone who was or saw themselves as being unstraight. Now, back in the day, the mindset and the stand of what you could have on, what you could and could not, what was right and what was wrong when it came to the wireless or the far seer, is not the same as it was now. Back then, if you were doing a show, film, or play for children and you had a self that was unstraight, even if he or she didn't do anything that was wrong, a lot of folks still thought it was wrong. It's not, but that's what they believed. So that mindset, that stand was still there. And 9 between was still there and still there by 2000 YL. It did not go away. So Cloverway was in the same bind and that Deke was in years before them. Now, some folks out there might look back at that and say, oh, well, Deke or Cloverway should have just said fuck it and let them be whatever they're going to be. Yeah. And then Deke or Cloverway would have been in a bind with, first, the folks that telling their children not to watch it would have been, they would have lost some watch time, but the show would have still been on. So, well, let's take some folks that go way, way above just telling their children not to watch that show, film, or play. They might choose to, call the FOLKWORK. It might take them a little work, but they will find the track, and they will call the FOLKWORK. And at that time, it would have been, I don't know, by the time that the third and fourth following came out, well, that was only cartoon. So by that time, WB, UPN, and Fox and USA would have not had anything to do with it anymore. That would have been cartoon and YTV. And mine see a lot of folks bitching at someone at Cartoon FOLKWORK or Drawing Show FOLKWORK or YTV and saying, oh, well, I don't think it's right, that my children watch the show, and there were some folks that were unstraight. And if there are enough if enough folks were bitched at Cartoon and YTV, then Cartoon and YTV would have had to tell Cloverway, Pioneer, whoever had the rights at that time, both of them, that was a no-go. And then the show would have been dropped, and that would have been the end of it. So that's why Cloverway had to make some shifts. That's why Deke had to make some shifts when they had rights to it. See, it's not like how it is now, where the mindset and the stand is not the same like it once was. You see, nowadays, there are more folks that are more, I would say, open-minded. I would say folks that were more entrusting. And there were more folks that were more open-minded and more trusting of folks who either were unstraight or saw themselves as unstraight. So it's not like how it was then. And you see, that's the grounds to why Cloverway had to shift stuff to Nearkin. Now, I know some folks out there might scape that and say, oh, come on, Cloverway, couldn't you come up with some other way to say the near kinship between each other? I don't know. Now, Deke was also in that same bind, but they only had Zoisite to deal with. Cloverway had Sailor Uranus or Sailor Skyworld, Amara, and Sailor Neptune, Sailor SeaWorld, myself, Michelle to deal with. And then they had Fisheye to deal with. So, yeah, Deke only had one to deal with, and Cloverway had a lot more. And a lot of folks, would come on, it's too dark. And a lot of folks these days would most likely nowadays, a lot of folks would bitch. See, today, if you didn't have anyone that was unstraight in a show, film, or play, you would get scathed for not having them in it. But back in the day, you got scathed for having them in it, at least if it went for children. All right? That's the grounds to why Deke had to shift Zoisite to a woman. That's why Cloverway had to make us Nearkin, and that's why Cloverway had to have Fisheye and make her a woman too. You see, it's not like how it is today, where there's more folks that are more open-minded and trusting and understanding of that thing, and that's why Viz didn't have to do anything. That's why all Viz had to do was put it in English, and that was it. Because by the time Viz got the rights to work with it, the mindset and stand had shifted. And you can scathe the past all you want for the mindset or the beliefs or the stand that they had at the time. Yeah. It isn't like how it is now. So that's why Deke and later on Cloverway had to do what we had to do. But that's why Cloverway had to make us Nearkin. And I know a lot of folks scathe that and say, oh, well, Nearkin did not, didn't really undo anything. No. I guess that there were folks that had seen it before. I don't know how they would have, unless they were watching the written work somehow, on the interweb, but it was still, it's still the early years of the interweb, I guess. But I guess some folks would have seen and heard some things, at least seen things on the show that wasn't matching up to being a near-kin kinship. So your guess is good as mine. At the end of the day, that's why Cloverway had to do what it had to do to us. If you like this film, then follow us over here at Sailor Moon for Life. Watch the other film we made earlier this morning over here with Sailor Uranus, Sailor Skyworld, Amara. Don't forget to share and playlist and rate this, and give this film a thumb up. Don't forget to hit that bind and that ringer to let us know when the next upload live stream or short's been done. I, Sailor Neptune or Sailor SeaWorld Michelle, and I'll see you later. Goodbye. Farewell. So long.